Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about bullying in a stepfamily and why it is important to do something about it. I post once a week, so subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell and I'll let you know every time I post. Bullying is a very important topic. Bullying has negative consequences that can be far-reaching. I'm not going to deny it. It is also a very complex topic. So, although we're going to cover this in the next few minutes here about step-parenting, if bullying is your issue, it is worth reading up about it and working out what's sensible to do in your particular circumstances. The thing is that bullying is sometimes very subversive. You can't see it, you don't notice it. It can be done without you knowing, particularly if it's children that are doing it to each other. And in a step family, you've got the children coming from different cultures. So what is acceptable behaviour in one family may be a lot brasher than what's acceptable in another. In addition, you've got the problems of step-family children having been through quite often a fair amount of, even if it hasn't been traumatic, a certain amount of change, moving on, accepting the way things are now, just a little bit more turmoil than children who have remained inside a family that has stayed together. Now, I'm not one for saying that it's bad to have change, or that step-family life is any worse than a traditional family life. In fact, coping with change builds resilience, and stepchildren can be a lot stronger and more able and more sure of what they want in life as a result of having been through the step-family process. So I'm not saying that being in a step-family is automatically negative, but I am just also saying that children who belong to a step-family sometimes have developed coping strategies and behaviours that they use to help them get on. And those behaviours aren't always positive or constructive. They can be anger, bullying, roughness, rudeness, those kinds of things. But equally, they can be quietness, retreating into themselves, anxiety, fear about things, general sort of shrinking away from pushing themselves out into life. And so therefore you can have a whole range of behaviours in children that come out of the changes that have taken place in their family life to date. So if you're struggling with bullying in your step-family, it is worth looking at the pairing, if you like, the co-relationships that are going on. Because you might be finding that you've got a child who's got anxiety being bullied by a child that's angry. And what I'm saying is it exacerbates the situation. Now, I'm not saying that the bully, therefore, has got a reason to be a bully. I'm not. Being a bully is not okay, and it needs to be addressed. But so does having anxiety. So if you're finding yourself in a troubled area here, it might be worth seeking professional help. But let's just deal with the bullying. The bullying is where the bully suffers from a lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of generosity of spirit. Possibly he or she feels that the world is against them in some way, that they have the right to get back, that they just want to put it out there. They're fed up with being trampled on. They feel not listened to, so they're going to get their way somehow. And if they find a way of getting back at you by being nasty to somebody else in the family, they may well do that. So, bullying is a sign that all is not well with the bully. It's not that the bully is just a bad person or evil. It's the bully shrieking from deep within them that something is not right, life is not right, then there's something missing, they're not being listened to, their needs are not being met in some way. Now, I'm not saying needs, you need to give them more, but you need to work out why they're bullying. Behaviour has a reason. So instead of looking at the bully's behaviour as a negative, try looking at the bully's behaviour as to what really is the matter. Now, maybe they need some one-to-one time with their parent, constructive time, and that'll lessen the bullying. But of course, you don't want to give them that as a reward for bullying, so it needs to be managed properly. But if the bully's behaviours are addressed constructively, you're more likely to get a reduction in the bullying than if you just do more of what they feel they're suffering from anyway, which is not being heard, not being understood, being told what to do all the time, being punished, people being quite mean to them, so they're going to be mean to others. Often this kind of solving a bully problem is doing something that's quite counterintuitive, but is looking beneath the behaviours to help the bully feel better about behaving better themselves. Children mirror behaviour, so if you use loads of swear words and poor language generally, ultimately you can expect nothing other than for your children to ultimately repeat that too. You know, they'll mimic you. They'll mirror what they're hearing. And likewise with behaviour. If you show them respect, kindness, not kindness in the face of them being nasty, but just generally friendliness and understanding, then you should be able to get a bit of that back. So what I'm saying here is that a bully is a bully for a reason, whether you like it or not. You don't like the behaviour, you want to stop it. It's not okay that they behave like this, and there may be some discipline actions that can be taken. But at the same time, you need to look at what the real problem is and set about addressing that. And that could also be quite painful for you. It could cost you looking after what their genuine, true personality needs are. And then you'll begin to get the reduction in the bullying. Of course, they may be being bullied in another family. You know, they're not with you the entire time, possibly. So they could be receiving poor behaviour from somebody in another family, or feel outcast in another family, or ostracised or unloved. And then they bring that back into your family and bully somebody in your household. Well, that too needs to be sorted out. And, you know, how? Well, it depends on what the real problems are, but it may mean you talking to the other families that they belong to, talking to your ex, to your partners needs to talk to their ex. You know, these are difficult conversations that need to be had. But seeing it as a communication is a healthier, more constructive way to deal with a bully than just trying to shut them down and shut them out. I rather feel that that's just suppressing it, and it'll only come out later, somewhere else, probably even more angry. Okay, so that is looking at how to address the bully. But the other thing I'd like to say about bullies is, if their behaviour goes unnoticed, they often get away with it. And it's important that you step up as a parent, as a step-parent, and therefore a co-parent in the house when they're with you. But also work with your partner on it, because they too need to step up. I always think the saddest thing is when somebody's behaviour is extremely poor, a child's behaviour is extremely poor, and the parents kind of think, oh, it's a stage they're going through. They'll grow out of it. It'll be all right at the end of the day. Well, no. You are the parent in the house. A parent has a job to do. They have a role in the child's life. And you, as a parent in that household, need to step up and take action. And action not just understanding the behaviours, but actually looking out for the bullying behaviour as and when it happens. And catching them with it. Saying, that's not a very nice thing to say. And then later, in private, saying to them, now, I'd like to talk to you about what I heard you say in the car or whatever. And they go, oh, I'm not going to not going to talk to you about that or something. He said, no, we need to address this. We want to know what it is you're thinking you're doing, what you think you're achieving, why you feel as though you're able to say what you're saying or doing what you're doing, and get you and them to have a conversation about it. You as the step parent and your partner as the parent, job this is for you to do. If a bully is going to get caught and knows you're looking and observant, then they will do it less. They may do other things as well, and you do need to address the underlying issues. But if they think they might get caught, they will do it less. Whereas if they think they can get away with it, they'll be doing it all the time. And it causes misery. It causes misery. So, if you have a situation where two children are fighting and you think one is being bullied, sort the conversation, sort the argument or the bullying incident or the nasty incident out in whatever way you can there and then. Split them up, distract them, get them to start doing something else, send one of them out on an errand, do whatever you like. But later you speak to one and then the other separately and out of hearing of the other, and ask them what was the cause of the fight. What was the problem? Get them to tell you. And then from that you'll be able to work out what was the initiating incident or behaviour or action. One will say one thing about the other, and the other will say one thing about the other, but you will know what the original causes might have been, and then you watch for it again. Behaviour has a habit of repeating, so you don't have to wait long, and quite often it'll happen again. Sometimes it'll happen again within hours, and you say, right, we're splitting that up again. This has just happened. What I've seen is this. And they'll go, well, it's not me, da, da, da. You split them up, you sort it all out, and then you again have a word with the one and then the other, out of earshot of the other, and say, okay, so what I saw happen then was this happened, but this happened then, and that, and they go, well, that's because such and such, and then you get to and eventually, after you've done this a few times, you get to the trigger. And then you begin to watch for the trigger. And it may be something really small, like, one of them just poking the other, or tripping the other up as they get up out of the chair, or slamming the door on them just as they're walking. There are lots of little things that can start this off. But once you get to the initiating trigger, that's when you step in, you don't wait. So you say, so it's when somebody pokes somebody or pulls their hair as they're walking past or anything like that. And the moment you catch it, you catch them then and there and you say, I've just seen you pull her hair, or I've just seen you trip him up, or I've just seen you close the door. And we've talked about that, haven't we? Go for it. Go for it. Talk. Deal with it. Address it. All I can say is that I have worked in therapy for quite a long time. Bullying is a very negative, long-lasting influence on people. If you grow up as a child having been bullied, then actually it can be quite difficult to feel good enough about yourself, feel confident, feel able, and so therefore you as a child growing up like this can suffer long-term consequences. Bullying needs to be addressed. We run workshops, sessions, we do an email response service, and we write booklets. You can find the link to my website below and links to my social media.